A very good afternoon. It's Thursday, the 20th of June. The time is 1 p.m. if you're watching live. But if you are watching on playback, don't take my word for what the time is. You are indeed watching the Light Bite Lunch, and I'm absolutely delighted to be joined today by James Clare from StoneSource Global. We'll hear loads about the world of stone and the different bits and pieces of what he does and how he does it and what makes them the very best at what they do. So, over the next half hour, pull up a chair, grab a coffee, and join us for a Light Bite Lunch. Good afternoon. And it looks like our title videos aren't working today. Oh well, we'll get on with the show anyway, not to worry. James, you're very, very welcome to join, and thank you so much for joining us today. I know how busy you've been.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Right. So before we get into the business properly, why don't you tell us a little bit about your own background?
So, come from a haulage background. My mother and father have a haulage company, and for maybe 10 years ago now, I ended up going working in a quarry local to me, and obviously spent over 10 years there learning the ins and outs of the industry. And I kind of fell in love with it, to be honest. And then 4 years ago now, I was made redundant. I didn't want to leave the industry and didn't want to have to go back working under mommy and daddy's rules. So I decided to form and start StoneSource Global. I seen a bit of a niche in the market where the smaller type of people were kind of forgotten about. And that's where I kind of want to niche in and where I wanted to take over from. And here we are now, 4 years on and still growing.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, like your own background was in haulage, so it's not a million miles of a jump, but at the same time, an understanding of quarrying, an understanding of stone, an understanding of what people's needs are. It's quite a big leap, and I think you're lucky, having done the bit of time in the quarry as well. It'll have helped. I mean, like when you look back on your own background, could you imagine doing anything other than what you're doing at the moment?
Now, growing up, I always said to myself, I seen the hardship that lorries brought. I said, I always wanted to go away from them, but I could never see myself sitting in an office. And obviously, growing up through the years, I knew nothing else other than lorries, and the love for lorries in general was something that brought me to the quarrying in anyways, because I ended up getting my lorry license, and that's how I started in the quarry. I took on a role of driving a lorry in the evening time, and just spiraled out of there. I became a transport manager, sales manager, and then just became an all-around operative in the quarry and kind of treated it as my own. I built up a clientele that kind of respected me, and that's the foremost of how successful StoneSource is, because of the clientele that came with me on board.
But again, and I mean, this is something that I stress to people so often, the key factor for any micro business, it's not just about the product or the service you're selling. It's about that personal touch. It's about, like, people buy people. And if you don't have that connection with your client, well, then you can have the greatest product or service in the world. People just won't buy into it.
Like, I know lads in this industry, like, it's StoneSource is kind of, we supply materials and we have a grab hire company. It's interlinked. It's all works as one. But I know lads there that are actually subbing work off me because they haven't got the factor of dealing direct with customers. They don't have the personal instinct to bring it to the level where I always operate my business. When someone's walking into a car showroom, it's the comfort zone. Bringing someone inside the comfort zone before you actually deliver what they need.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, as you know, James, having watched previous episodes of the show, every guest that comes on is asked the question about what for you is your perfect light bite lunch. So, well, I know that you were actually intending to be in the office to do the show today, but due to the nature of the business, you've ended up out on the road yourself. So Like for you today, it'll literally just be a can of Red Bull to get you through the day, or?
Yeah, well, the missus hates me drinking Red Bull, so the only chance I get is when I'm outside the door to drink a can of Red Bull and a breakfast roll and keep going.
That's it. So I'll just say, Cheryl, I hope you're listening to this, because I feel exactly the same about Red Bull, and it's an ongoing discussion that we have in relation to that.
No, definitely. Even my kids do say to me, I'm telling Mom now you have to be drinking Red Bull, because like it's a nice small can, you can get it down the hatch and get going. So
that's it, absolutely. And listen, if that's what works for you, absolutely great. As I said, I have my own beliefs on it, and I'm going back to the very early days when Red Bull first appeared, and I saw the after effects of people mixing Red Bull and vodka, and after that would never touch the stuff. But
it's a phase, to be honest with you. I go through it, and then I get a bad wave. I might get a few heart palpitations and say, right, that's it, it's gone. But
until the next one.
Yeah, until the next one.
That's it. Now, again, as you know, part of the reason we have you on here is we're featuring a number of the finalists from the Micro Business Awards. Can I ask you, when you discovered that you had actually been named a finalist, what did that mean to you and your business?
People always say to me, like, oh, they're minor things, they don't really do it. And any award, and especially that type of award, is a big thing. I just feel like it brings a lot to the table. Like, people, when you hear your finalists and you're competing against the best out there, like, if people feel that their business should be there, they wouldn't have entered. And I always feel that the more I give Stone Source Global with awards and stuff like that, that's the more of achievements that we'll make out on the road, and customers, like, it's just simple. It's you give what you get.
Well, again, I think it helps. For me personally, and when we created the Micro Business Awards, the idea was to give people a little bit of peace of mind that this business has been willing to put themselves out there, has had industry specialists come and look at what they're doing, look how they're doing it, and has deemed them worthy to win an award, right? Even to be named a finalist. Like, I mean, I look back over the 9 years and I look at the early years where we might get 100, 150 awards. Now we're running at over 3,000 entries every year. And I'm just glad I'm not the ones that has to judge it, because it's an absolute nightmare for the judges. I mean, I know that one particular judge who judged for us in the beginning, then when we'd done the changeover, and they came back recently to judge, and they were talking about, in the early years, there was a couple of hours work in doing the judging of the categories. Now it's multiple hours across several days to do it now, because of the level of the entries and the quality. And so, I mean, like, for us, it's as important that the finalists feel there is a reason to enter, right? Leaving aside the fact that we get a good night out in October too.
Yeah.
But no, well, I'm glad that you feel it's something that is worthwhile. As I said, it's something we're very proud of what we've created with it. And on that, we'll just give quick mention to this. As we are talking about the awards at the moment, we will make quick mention that the finals are on the 26th of October. We will be in Knightsbrook Hotel in Trim. We have an absolutely brilliant night lined up. There'll be pre-dinner drinks with networking, where you can chat away with some of the different businesses. And I would also say to people, if you're thinking, well, I'd like to start a business, but I don't know how to go about it, or I don't know what to do, I'd say, even for you, come along on the night, meet the businesses that are there. The one thing I have learned over the years with micro businesses, they are more than happy to share what has worked for them. But equally as important, they will advise you where they have gone wrong. And they're not afraid to say, I got it wrong and I tried X, Y, and Z, which didn't work for my business. So it's a great opportunity to meet these small businesses, to see how they've developed over the years. And again, then we'll go in, we'll enjoy a very nice, sumptuous 4-course dinner. We'll have the awards presentation. We're going to have a nice raffle on the night as well. Among the prizes that I know we have, Carol's Irish Hampers have given us a hamper to give away. Knightsbrook themselves have given us an overnight stay, a voucher for an overnight stay. There are a number of other prizes as well, which you will find out about on the night. But it's going to be an absolutely brilliant night. Tickets are exceptionally good value as award ceremonies go at €90 each. And if you would like to book tickets, all you need to do is email microbusinessawards@gmail.com with the subject tickets and tell us how many tickets you would like. You will get your invoice sent back to you. There's a payment link on that where you can pay by either electronic transfer or you can pay by card, whatever is easier for you. That'll arrive back out to your inbox then, and then you can just make the payment. Once the payment is made, you then get your email back confirming it's received and looking forward to welcoming you on the night. Any business attending can also bring a pull-up banner on the night and put it up in the room. There's no additional charge for that. And of course, as I tell everyone, bring plenty of business cards, because separate to the cards you're going to hand out to people, there will be a table at the back of the room where you can leave your bundle of business cards, so that if there's anyone that was looking to meet you who doesn't get a chance to on the night, they can always pick up a card and get in touch with you afterwards. So, as I said, it is definitely well worth getting to. It's a good night out and the tickets are good value. So, James, when it comes to your client base, are they predominantly professionals who would be landscapers or would be contractors, that type of thing? Or do you have the end user coming to you occasionally saying, well, look, I want to do a rock garden, but I don't know what I need? And do you offer advice like that as well?
We're lucky enough, we have a wide range of customers, from, like, we have construction companies, landscaping companies. A lot of celebrities over the last couple of years have come on as well, because, again, the comfort zone, allowing us into properties, like, we just treat everybody as their own. And then a lot of end users, I always put it out there to people that they can come to me, regardless if they're buying products off me. I'd rather them come and look for the right person. Over the last 10 years, I've dealt with everybody in the industry, the good, the bad, the ugly. So I kind of know who to recommend for the right jobs, or what to recommend for the right job. So that's kind of like, in a couple of years' time, I want to be sitting back. I want to have an office where people come and say to me, listen, I want this done in my garden, who to do it, or if I want to do it myself, what to use to do it.
Right. Well, we have two comments have come in there. I'll just throw them up on screen there for you. We have Dylan, first of all. Dylan Gampy saying, get on, Jim. So, obviously a friend of yours.
Yeah.
And Kieran Brown telling us that Stone Source are the #1 grab hire. So,
we like to think that.
No, well, people are saying, if other people are saying it, you're doing something right. Yeah. So, everyone at the moment is exceptionally worried about the environment and environmental issues. Where do you see your business fitting in on an environmental footing?
Well, we're constantly always trying to push to reuse and recycle aggregates. Unfortunately, in Ireland, compared to England, like in England, before a product is actually blasted from the ground, the way we do it in Ireland, and produce rock and stone, in England they process that stone and reuse it. Unfortunately, we're not allowed. Anything we lift or take out of the ground over here is deemed a waste, so it has to be travelled miles down the country to a landfill. So we always ask customers, if we're lifting a grab load, to try keep it segregated and separated as much as possible, so that we can bring it to the right resources for reuse.
Yeah.
So we love our topsoil, and topsoil in Ireland, like, we're surrounded by it everywhere, and everybody uses it. I feel that anything that we take out of the ground has a reuse. It can be used somewhere along the line, rather than buried down in end of Enfield or Edenderry to build up ground that's never going to be reused again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, Like, I think that's why I wanted to actually get into the environmental side of it, because so many people don't realize that if the waste coming out off the site is properly prepared, that there is actually huge opportunities for reuse and that type of thing. Moving along then, where do you see the main importance of micro businesses to your business?
As we spoke before briefly about it, the micro businesses is my main aim, because not only the fact that they like to keep everything tight as well as we do, because like we're one man band, I operate everything as well as my partner does the paperwork side of things. But on the road, if I'm going from job to job, I could do 5 or 10 load a day. I like to kind of be paid either before I get there or when I'm there. The big companies like to try to get you to roll them over for 30 days. And it's very important within the industry. We've seen over the last couple of years how fast things can turn around within this industry. So the micro businesses are the ones that I kind of focus on. I treat everybody the same, but it's the micro businesses that have made us and brought us to where we are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, again, that's so important to realize that, and to acknowledge the fact that micro businesses are generally better payers than the large national stroke multinational companies. Now,
Yeah.
and again, so that I'm avoiding any type of lawsuit, I'm not suggesting that the larger companies are bad payers. It's just micro businesses seem to have a better understanding of the importance to payments for micro businesses. So we just clarify on that side of it. So for you, if it was a case that Stone Source hadn't worked, what would your plan B have been?
Well, I'm lucky enough. This is my second rodeo. So when I was working in the quarry, I thought I would have my own lorry there hacking for me. Unfortunately, it didn't go to plan. And anyway, like financial, had a few misfits drivers, lorries breaking my heart. So I decided to pull the pin there. And then with Stone Source, I think no matter what, I would have been in with it somewhere within this industry.
It would have been.
I probably would have been still working for the quarry. I've had some of the big operators when I wasn't even out of a job 24 hours, and I was asked for phone calls. Had received phone calls of like some of the biggest quarries and the biggest out there ringing me, asking me would I be interested in going working for them. But bit headstrong, and in this industry, you find that when I was working in the last quarry, I was the enemies of the rest of them. But when I went out there, it was a free for all, and I don't know what I brought to the table, but they obviously wanted some of it, and I wanted to make it myself.
Right, but again, and at the end of the day, what it comes down to is you had the experience, and everyone was of the opinion that they wanted your experience, and they wanted the experience you bring not just of the industry, but because your experience is so widespread literally across the whole thing, across the moving of the stuff, the quarry itself, understanding the entire industry start to finish. So obviously that makes you very much an asset to the business. I see we have Keith Shaw actually making has a comment in there. You're the hardest working man in the industry. So clearly you have made an impact on a lot of people who are watching us today.
Right. It's just it's the age group as well that has made it work for me. Like I'm 31, and you know yourself, like social media over the last couple of years has been a massive thing, and I see it there going along the end of the screen as the website, but also on the Instagram. Major work has folded from there because of everyone my age is kind of either getting their own home, and we're the first to go to because we're in the public eye on the social media platforms.
Well, it's funny you actually say that. I saw a report from Unpost this morning, and they were actually stressing the importance now for every type of business. They were originally on talking about Christmas sales and that type of thing. I mean, Christmas in the middle of June. But but they were talking about the fact that last year, 97% of people aged 18 to 27 made purchases having seen them on social media. So as you say, getting the social media campaign right is so important, and being able to deliver on it ongoing is definitely something to look at. If somebody came to you and said, James, I have an absolutely brilliant idea for starting up my own business, what advice would you be giving them?
Well, a lot of my friends, we a lot of entrepreneurial heads. I always say, give it a go. You're never going to know until you try, but you have to be ready for hard. It's hardship. Business is hardship, regardless how good it's going. If it's going good, there's a lot of pressures on to meet demands. If it's going bad, you have a lot of pressures on to get it right. It's very enjoyable, but I think business is cut out for certain people.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, on that, it's so important too, that you have to be aware that the people who you think are your best friends and who are going to tell you how great you are may not actually be willing to buy your product. And so one thing that irks me terribly when it comes to micro businesses in Ireland is people who are looking for exactly what you do, who decide, well, they're probably a little bit small to risk buying off. I'd go and buy off one of the multinationals or this type of thing. And I just keep asking the question, why? If we could get a proper support structure for micro businesses here, everything could be so much better for them. But it's just so hard to get that support structure in place, even if it's not buying off them, sharing their posts on social media, generating an interest in it, like whatever you can do to promote a small Irish business. We should all be screaming out and saying, let's do this. Let's create a whole chain of it happening.
I firmly believe that, because I've seen over the last 10 to 15 years within the quarry industry alone that the big names are pushing the smaller names out, and it's going to come to a time within this industry that we're going to have no choice but to deal with the big lads and pay double the prices, because they're going to have everything so niched up, like, and the small businesses are going to be gone if people don't support them, because it's the public that we need to support us and to keep us going daily, like.
Yeah, no, well, absolutely. And I mean, again, like recent reports show just the level of employment, and that the majority of employment in Ireland is created by micro and small businesses. But you have the multinationals who have much bigger workforces, but they're actually providing a much smaller share of that employment. So getting out and supporting micro businesses is absolutely crucial. So what's next for you in the plan?
The next step is, now we'll get the wedding out of the way in August, and then we're going to push on, hopefully start of the new year, and we're hoping to get our own facility. Our main aim is our own facility as basically like a hardware slash material, where you can come in, again, dealing with the small people, that the local gardener, the local landscaper, or the local homeowner can drive into our facility. They can pick up as small as a couple of bags of sand or stone. Again, the small niche, keep it nice and small. So the facility is going to be based on gardeners. The people, as again, we're going off the point, but the small, we want to have that facility for the small people to come in, purchase what they need to purchase, all under the one roof. We're going to work off small margins, because we hope to have it as a property that is 50% family home, 50% business, that we can keep everything under the one roof and just move forward from there. That's my main aim for Stoneworkers.
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's great to have a plan like that, and of course, you do have to make sure that the wedding is the first priority.
Definitely, or there'll be no more me or Stoneworkers.
Absolutely. And we're very nearly at the end of the show. So if people want to get in touch with you, what are their best ways to do it?
The website is there. We kind of don't focus. The website is just basically static, so all the details and all the products are on that. To get in touch with myself, no matter what number they ring, there's two numbers. The two phones are always on, whether it be advice, products, or even if people aren't in our vicinity within the Leinster region, if they're anywhere in Ireland, we're willing to help. We can have the contacts all over Ireland to get the job done, regardless of what they need. And then, obviously, if people are on Facebook, social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, we're on all the platforms. We like to keep it busy out there. So,
yeah, well, the show today has gone out now on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Twitter. Sorry, on X. So it's out there on all the platforms as well. So hopefully, a few people will see it and that.
Definitely.
So for you then, I know you're putting together a table of people to come down to the awards in October, and hopefully we'll be able to have you meet up with people that could be beneficial to you. And I'm sure there's people watching this who are going to come along and who'll feel you can be beneficial to them. And don't be afraid to come along and say hello and meet the people, because as I said, these are the businesses who've taken the chances and who are putting themselves out there. And it's definitely worth meeting with them. And even if you can't, like, as I always tell people, I'm happy to go and meet anyone for a cup of coffee. If I can help them, great. If I can make money out of them, even better. But if I can't, at very least, we'll have a good cup of coffee together. And
definitely, as I say to all the lads and all the people around me, whether strangers or not, if I can help any person, whether it be mentally or businessy, my phone number is always on. It's available on, as I said, all platforms. Type in Stone Source, we come up. Whether they want to come for a spin in the lorry during the day, we're there to help anybody. As again, mentally, physically, or whether they get the project done, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, well, I've just been asked a question there, what I do for a living. My day job is taxation, or as I prefer to call it, tax avoidance consultant. I also am the founder of the Micro Business Awards, and I do the webcast here as well. So I'm kept reasonably busy at what I do, but I'm also an advocate and a very strong advocate for micro businesses. I'm a registered government lobbyist, the whole lot, in terms of screaming and shouting on things for micro businesses. So, as I said, I'm passionate about micro businesses. I want to see micro businesses succeed, and I'll do whatever I can to help any micro business out there. Whether they're clients of mine or not makes no difference to me. Again, the awards are run on a not-for-profit basis. That's not about making money. It's about giving back to the micro business community so they get the opportunities that they should have out there. And we're very lucky with the new minister that we have, that he's very interested in supporting micro businesses. And I have a meeting with him now in the next couple of weeks to see where we can move things on and make things better for micro businesses, but that will be for a future show. Well, James, I know you're going to be rushing off to another meeting, so thank you so much for your time. We are
appreciate having me on.
Yeah, we are pretty much out of time. We will be back in 2 weeks' time with another guest, another finalist from the awards, telling us all about their business. And this time, I think from memory, I think we're heading to the west of the country with our guest in 2 weeks. So until then, we will be back at the same place, 1 o'clock Thursday, and 2 weeks from today, and we'll have another episode of the Late Bite Lunch. A very good afternoon. And yes, it looks like our titles aren't working today, so